Once upon a time, the infamous rover Reynardo plundered the floating isles. Then his mother called him to her deathbed. "Swear to me that you won't die on the gallows." She rasped. Reluctantly, he swore. And he whiled away his days at home with music, cards, and wine. But the Emperor had changed. He'd been good once, a shy, almost humble toad. He'd built universities. Then people started whispering about mass graves in the woods. Midnight rituals, victims screaming. The Imperial Ravens would round up entire villages, and no one ever returned.
Fuck.
The Ravens had come to Ubar scouting for ancient books said to be of great power. But the librarians had hidden the books, so they'd burnt the librarians. The citizens, outraged, had driven them off. The Ravens had come back with dropships. The kid had fled with one of those books. He was brave and dumb and wanted to join the rebellion. And Reynardo had promised his mother he'd protect him.
Come on.
The kid was looking down, watching his city burn. "Sorry, kid," Reynardo told the kid. "Look, if we give them the book, they'll leave you alone." "My mother died for this book!" "I promised her I'd protect you." "Oh, damn it." The kid had run off. With the book, of course. So Reynardo had to run after him. The two Ravens were staring at the kid like he was their dinner, which probably was what was in their tiny brains. "Hey," Reynardo said. They cocked their heads at him. "Pick on someone as ugly as you." Wait, that didn't come out right. "For the Emperor!" The Ravens clawed and rushed at him. A dropship flew overhead. He hoped they hadn't noticed him. The kid. Oh, right. The Gate of Heroes. Someone's idea of a joke, making the skyship docks a gated community. You needed a hero's sword to open it. And the kid was on the other side of the gate. "Who let you through? Promise me you'll take the book to the rebels, or I'm gonna steal your ship." "I'm not taking that damn book anywhere, and neither are you." "Try and stop me," laughed the kid. "I bet you don't even have a hero's sword." And with that, the kid hopped away. Had to hand it to the kid. He was an idiot, but he had guts. Where was Reynardo going to get a hero sword? Ore and wind essence? Perfect. A hero sword. QED. This is what he got for settling down and finding people to care about. The kid's mum had been a swell cook, and she'd laughed at Renado's jokes, even when he didn't know he'd made one. And then the ravens had come to burn her. And she'd made him promise to protect the kid. But she never told him where the book was. Just the kid. He came up to a ledge. It was too far to jump. There'd been a bridge here before, hadn't there? And there was Peter, giggling at him. How'd you get across? Yeah, asked the kid. Where'd you find a hook? I hopped, said the kid. Wise-ass kid. Hey, look out behind you! Cute, said Renato. Oh, ravens. It was time to talk some sense into the kid. Just hook his way across the ledge and chase the kid down. Thing was, he hadn't used his hook since he'd retired. How'd he done it? Maybe if he meditated at that altar there, he'd remember his old skills. Starting to come back to him. Something you never completely forgot, like how to freeze time when attacking. The more he fought, the more he'd probably remember.
No.
And there was the Farfarer. She was the fastest ship he'd ever known. She could do the Kestra run in 12 furlongs. Well, so the salesman told him. And something told him the kid was about to walk into an ambush. Stop! He shouted. I'm not giving you the book! Shouted the kid, and took off. No! Peter! The kid ran for it, and a goggler nailed him with its eye. The book was unburned. Next to it were the buckles from the kid's shoes, and a kid-sized pile of ashes. Damn it. Why hadn't he lied and told the kid he'd take the book to the rebels? The kid would be alive now. Really pissed off and betrayed, but alive. Oh, damn it. Renato picked up the book. He couldn't let the Empire have it now. He was going to have to get it out of there. He'd be a wanted man. Probably have to join the rebellion just to have a place to dock. Well, he'd hated home life anyway. What was the big deal about this book anyway? Maybe he should open it and find out. All that had been years ago. How many? The war was a blur. And now 3 Raven scout ships were chasing him. Where are you running, rebel? Cawed the Raven captain over the loud hailer. Renato could see them cranking up their catapults. Just going out for milk? Renato yelled back. Where can you run? Laughed the Raven horribly. Far behind him, another city was burning. The dark cloud above its island was thousands of Imperial ships. The fleet was doing a thorough job. Take us to the rebel base! I will spare your life! It cawed. The entire jury-rigged rebel fleet was only a few islands to the east. Beyond that were only the pillars of heaven. A sea of endless blood-colored tornadoes. The rebellion was out of time. Unless Renato could bring a game-changer. Maybe he could. Renato had found out where he could find the pieces of the Sky Ripper, the legendary weapon that had exiled the lost gods. Surely a legendary weapon could win the final battle. On the other hand, his old friend Lapino had sent Renato a desperate message saying he had a brilliant scheme to save the rebellion. If Renato could only rescue him. Renato dived the Farfarer towards the abyss. As he felt the heat of the jet stream, the Raven ships peeled off. Not stable enough to follow him down there. Now it was time to choose. Lapino or the Sky Ripper. Every child knew about the Sky Ripper. The Transcendent Emperor had buried its pieces. What could have brought them to light? This Emperor, Isengrim III, had once been kind, but he'd gone mad. And now he was conducting secret, obscene rituals to bring back the lost gods. Had he, somehow, summoned the long-lost components of the legendary weapon out of the deep places of the earth? It was more than Reynardo could fathom. But if he could find a legendary weapon, he would use it. As he set foot on the island, Reynardo could not help but feel a tinge of guilt. He'd left Lapino behind. He hoped the Mad Rabbit had somehow escaped the Ravens. He hoped they hadn't eaten him. If they had, he hoped they hadn't eaten him alive. Why had he chosen the Sky Ripper? Reynardo never been vigilant. He was a hero. He didn't think too much. He just went with his gut and hoped it all worked out. The Sky Ripper was a long shot. He'd have to devote himself to it. No side journeys, no rescuing old friends. That was against his nature. Could he stick with it? Sleep tight, thought Reynardo. The people who had built this castle, did they even know what monstrous weapon lay hidden within their walls? The Sky Ripper could destroy anything it touched, or so the legend said. As the Transcendent Emperor had fought the lost gods, thousands of thousands had died. But Reynardo had been through wars. The only merciful war was a short one. Here. Kill the fox! Caught the ravens. Nobody said they were original. See? That wasn't so hard. It was starting to come back to him. Something you never completely forgot. Like how to freeze time when attacking. The more he fought, the more he'd probably remember. There it was. Sky Ripper's armature. The stuff that dreams are made of. Engineers' dreams, anyway. The device was intricate. No one alive had the skill to make a thing like it. How was it part of a weapon at all? He'd have to ask a scientist. But first, he'd get the second piece. Sky Ripper had a heart. A corps that had come to rest on the next island. Well, there was another island he could reach. Zenobia had just invaded it with her father's Raven battalions. She must be encamped there still. But fighting Zenobia now, that made no sense at all. He'd already sacrificed one friend to get this armature, was it? He didn't need to hurry to face her. She would find him. It was a no-brainer. He'd sacrificed his old friend Lapino to get the armature. And the armature was useless by itself, only a series of coils and wheels. War demanded sacrifices, and he would make more before the end. He would have to choose the greatest good, no matter how much it cost him. Zenobia. Well, he would see her sooner or later, across a battlefield or a sword's point before all this was over. He was sure of that. The power was in the core. Obviously.
You could skip cut. Wow. Look at me wasting time.
Doubt sunk in before he was even out of sight of the Farfarers.
So far, 16 minutes.
Why had he chosen the Sky Ripper? It was the sort of path he'd always avoided. The path of responsibility, of seriousness. Had he grown up? He didn't feel grown up. He'd made this decision from his gut, like he always did.
Not where I wanted to go.
Somehow, he'd impulsively decided to stop being impulsive. Did that make any sense?
Here.
There was something sour in the air. Like the earth had ruptured over something that had been fermenting for a very long time. And this is why heroes are called dashing, Renato thought. See? Dashing? Get it?
In here.
There were fewer and fewer trees. There were only these huge crystalline growths. Had those been here before? He no longer heard birds except for the feverish cawing of the ravens when they attacked. He couldn't smell the small animals of the forest. The mice and rabbits. Where had they gone? And he was getting hungry too. This was an unhealthy place to be.
Fuck off.
So this was what it was like to die. Not nearly as much fun as they said.
What?
The 20-sided core made him feel physically sick. Once he had sneaked into a temple of the dark arts, and he hadn't liked what he smelt and saw there. This felt like that. As quick as he could, he wrangled the icosahedron into the armature. The wheels began to spin, then glow. The sick feeling quickly spun away. Now he only felt sad. He had lost good friends for this war apparatus. He carried his prize back to the Farfarer. Now, he had to make his next move. There was a key Imperial outpost on the Nexus. If this really was some sort of super weapon, he could use it to wreak havoc on the enemy. And if it wasn't, well, better to know that before the final battle. But maybe he should show it to some scientists first. There was an observatory on the Nexus. Maybe he should go there before he fired it.
I'm still wasting time. Whoops.
Why had the parts of the Sky Ripper only surfaced now? Thousands of years after the Transcendent Emperor had dismantled it. The mad Emperor Isengrim had performed terrible, bloodthirsty rituals to invoke the lost gods. Was that why these ancient artifacts were rising out of the ground? How perfect, then, that the Sky Ripper would reappear to be his destruction. Bernardo wondered if he could learn to cook this way. Probably not. Surprisingly, a legendary weapon was exactly what the rebellion needed. They were outnumbered. The once kind emperor had become a tyrant. But his ravens stayed loyal, for he fed them his victims, and the other animals were too frightened to rebel. Renato shuddered at what the emperor was trying to do. To bring back the lost gods, the Black Harvest, the Black Sun? No. He would stop that toad, no matter what the risk. Who needed bridges, anyway?
Every time. It's supposed to be that one.
The Nexus Observatory had the Empire's most renowned scientists, working by themselves without interference. At least, so far. Energy spheres. Easy to dodge, but boy did they sting if you didn't pay attention. The way they stayed back and lobbed pain and death from a distance. Cowards. Really dangerous, effective cowards. There was an inscription. Praise the sun.
Oh.
Renato was thrilled. The scientists seemed to think he'd put the Sky Ripper together right. But one toad was worried.
Yeah, Sky Ripper could tear a hole in existence itself. There are invisible strings that tie the universe together. At least go see Calaveras.
Yeah, said the worried toad.
He knows more than anyone else has forgotten about the Transcendent Emperor.
If anyone could tell him how to use this weapon safely, it would be Calaveras. It was he who had told Renato how to find it in the first place. But maybe he had to give up on using it as a weapon. Maybe he had to go to the secret rebel base and ask the generals there what he could do with a weapon that he dared not use. Renato was about to leave.
Music.
Maybe it was the cold. But after a few steps, Renato's optimism started to slump. What if Calaveras couldn't help? Did Renato dare use the Sky Ripper? Oh, he hated that he had chosen this path. It was so much simpler to rescue friends than to attack enemies, even if some of those friends were more trouble than his enemies. Some of those enemies had been friends before and might be rather fun. No, it wasn't all at once. No. Physics made his brain hurt. That, at least, he was sure of. Hero wall. Hero
I
sword.
think this is the right one.
Ice wall. Ice cube.
Nope. I guess I'll take it.
These platforms are great. Renato wanted one for his house.
Come on. Jesus. Slow-mo bullshit.
He tried to focus on the now. The ravens who seemed everywhere all the time. Where did they hatch from? Were there giant raven hatcheries somewhere, or did they have families? Ooh, he didn't want to think about raven mummies raising their darling raven chicks. Yeah, Calaveras would help. He would make Renato feel better about using the Sky Ripper. And then Renato wouldn't have to worry about ravens ever again. He was sort of yanking his own chain, wasn't he?
Hey, look at that. No way, come on.
Renato had sacrificed a friend for the Sky Ripper. It would be worth it if he could bring a super weapon to the rebellion. But the scientists had ruined everything. Sorry, mustache, thought Renato. Calaveras had never let him down.
Yeah, of course I can make it work better.
But when Renato explained about the strings, Calaveras grew thoughtful.
Oh, strings, you say? Well, the Arcana do speak of the ties that bind the world.
He drew many intricate symbols in the dirt.
Yeah, so, according to my calculations, each time you fire, I'm afraid there's a 1 in 120 chance you'll destroy the universe.
That's pretty good odds. That's like rolling, what, 21 dice and they all come up 6. What are the odds of that?
What? No! It's more like 2.716 in a row.
Anyway, with those odds, it won't happen if I use it just once.
Yeah, no, that's not right. Each time you use it... Okay, look, just don't use it ever.
All right, I guess. As he sailed away from the mountains, Bernardo could see clouds darkening. Rain? No. Ships. Imperial ships, swarming thick as bees. This was it. The big battle. They could not afford to lose this one. What if it did not go well? What if he had to use the Sky Ripper? Could he gamble the universe? On the other hand, what were
Spoiler,
the
he
odds of
does.
rolling 21 sixes in a row?
He doesn't get predictions. I don't either. Oh well.
The battle was not going spectacularly well. What had the rebels been thinking? They'd been thinking he would bring the Sky Ripper, or the Iblis Stone, or that he'd sideline Zenobia somehow, or turn her. Couldn't he use the Sky Ripper just once? After all, if chances were 1 in 128, that meant he'd for sure be okay the first time. They'd get worse each time he used it, but the first time would be okay, right? He wasn't sure that it was right. So he didn't fire the Sky Ripper. He just brought it along, in case. Bernardo felt new powers, ready to blossom within him, or something.
Ow. That PS4 hates this game.
There was an inscription on the
Screaming.
platform. Balaleka lesson, with an address. Someone had told him the odds didn't change just because you'd had a streak of good luck. His gut told him that was wrong, though, and he always listened to his gut. On the other hand, 128 chances to win, but one of them would destroy the universe. That seemed a bit serious. Maybe he could defeat the Emperor without firing the Sky Ripper. Maybe he could bluff, but with a real weapon. Like in cards, when you had 3 knaves, but you pretended you had a fizbin. That could work.
Come on. And a tuna sandwich. Ooh, this was such a bad time. I need to start. Alright. Shut up.
He set up the Sky Ripper and let it warm up. He would bluff if he had to. Zenobia came out, flanked by a very daunting platoon of ravens. You won't actually use that, she said in that annoying, I know everything because I'm a cat and you know nothing because you're just a fox voice she had. Or I know the odds. Good. Because there's a real chance you could destroy the universe. No, not the first time I use it. The odds are too low. What? No? Yeah, sure. The first time, the odds are practically nothing. They only go up if I use it a bunch more times. No, but that's not how odds work. Didn't you pay attention in class? Now surrender, or I'll use it. Just once, he said. Don't. He felt sure the odds were with him. You have to go with his gut. That's what heroes do. Fire, he said. Please? The Sky Ripper fired. With a tremendous whoosh, the Emperor's flagship went up in flames. It was awesome. Then he noticed there was a hole in the air. A blackness, like a tear in a parchment. Wind was blowing into it, widening it. It grew larger, and even larger. Crates fell upwards into it, and the world itself seemed bent, like the reflection on a curved mirror, as it poured into the ravenous hole. Ah, 1 in 128. What are the odds? Thought Reynardo, and then everything fell into the hole and was gone. Okay, that was weird. He could have sworn he just died. Instead, he was on the Farfarer, sailing away from
Splitting
Ubar.
when I get the thing.
And it was still burning. He'd fled burning Ubar years ago, hadn't he? And now he was back there. Had all those years fighting the Empire been nothing but a vision into the future? A useful vision if it was true. He'd learned something. The core was powerful, but dangerous if used improperly.
One second. Because you can do any of these in any order, so... Alright.
He'd made bad choices. But now, when the real battle came, he wouldn't make those choices. He wouldn't make the same mistake twice. The book's pages began to flip backwards, towards the beginning. And he realized that his adventure was just beginning. The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Reynardo knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong. But he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Emperor had brought the Sky Ripper pieces up out of ancient burial by his obscene rituals. Could this be where the Iblis stone was hidden? Someone better get it before he does, thought Reynardo. On the other hand, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing. Lapino was no game changer, but could Reynardo really leave an old friend to the Ravens? The island was windswept.
Should have freaking ate food.
Every child could sing verses about the Sky Ripper, but ancient codices held hints of other things. A stone that ate souls, a ruby that drank blood, a jewel only a righteous man could give away. Were all these things
I
the
got
Iblis
it.
stone?
Okay.
Long hidden in a buried temple, another ancient item that was only resurfacing now, drawn up from the deeps by the Emperor's horrific rituals.
Nope.
It was good to practice your moves, thought Renato. Keeps you limber. Ravens were already here, cawing in frustration. They were still searching for a way in. Good. And he hadn't come too late. Renato felt like he was ready to learn new things. Thank goodness he didn't have to go to school for that.
Really?
Welcome to Earth, Renato told the corpses. It was something he'd seen in a play once. He wished there were more pylons he could use the hook on. He really needed to construct additional pylons.
Yeah, I'm awake. I'm busy. Wow. Ow.
The Ravens at least could not get past this point. Obviously the temple builders knew how to deal with tomb raiders. He'd missed his old skills. He welcomed them back like it was at a reunion.
Come on. I'm not taking that risk.
Renato was no physicist, but he could have sworn something was wrong with the trajectory of these cannonballs. It was a stone of the purest blackness. It reflected no light, like a void made solid.
Find the core.
Nervous, he picked it up. Who said that? It was the stone. Eager. Thirsty.
Ah, I'll do this one.
That seemed tempting and terribly wrong. Zenobia was the Emperor's greatest general and a potent witch. But they had been close once. And Renato wasn't sure he really wanted to be Emperor. Why not capture the core of Sky Ripper instead?
Check this out.
It was the eye of the lost god, torn out by the transcendent Emperor to power his greatest weapon.
No, not the core.
Said the stone anxiously.
No, not the core. No. Just no. Well, fuck you.
The stone.
I'll do it anyway. And the shirt is small on me.
The moment he landed the Farfarer, Reynardo had a rare feeling of regret. It's not too late, he thought. He could turn around and sell for Zenobia's island.
No, I won't go
He
for
frowned.
that.
Wait a minute. He didn't want to kill Zenobia, did he? Sure, technically she was the enemy, but they'd been at Sword Fu school together. They'd never been lovers, but somehow they'd been closer. She'd told him every secret about herself. Except the biggest one. That she was the Emperor's daughter. No. Kill Zenobia. Whispered the stone. Before it's too late.
Come on.
There was something sour in the air. Like the earth had ruptured over something that had been fermenting for a very long time. He'd once met a pirate captain. He used hooks to get around his ship. Oh, what was his name again? The stone hadn't lied about what it could do for him. With each raven he cut down, he felt a jolt of power flowing into his arm. "You're weak," whispered the stone. "The call will kill you." Are you afraid of it? Don't be ridiculous. It chuckled. But it's unstable. It will poison you so much as carry it. And if you try to use it, it will explode catastrophically. Reynardo did not trust rocks that talked in his head. "Oh, what does the fox say?" asked one raven. Another one called back, "Go, dying!" They both laughed hysterically.
Oh, you. Right.
As he approached the core, the stone became hysterical. No, it's too much power. We will rip a hole in space and time. He had defeated the demonic gem with the power of his mind. He felt invincible. It was time to attack the Imperial outpost on the Nexus. Take the battle to the enemy. But among the huge crystals, there was also an observatory. A wise man would probably ask the scientists exactly what he had first. How wise was he? As the Farfarer... See? He'd trusted his gut, and it had worked out. That's what it meant to be a hero. To ignore the naysayers and the oddmakers, and do what you knew was right, and have it turn out to be the right thing. No, he wasn't worried. Once he got to the observatory, the scientist toads could explain it. Then he could carry the war into the enemy's camp and destroy them all. Oh dear, he was getting a little bloodthirsty, wasn't he? Reynardo wondered if his future self had commissioned these poles.
Oh, shit. Every fucking time.
Reynardo had never felt better in his life. Normally, a battle would wear him down and he would need a night's sleep. Now he felt like he could go all night and all day. He felt like people were cheering him on, and he could practically hear their applause as he slew one raven after another. The Imperial fleet was closing in on the rebels, forcing them to come out and fight. Reynardo was itching to bring the fight to the enemy. He had to remind himself not to be too reckless. we just agree to disagree?
Boy, some people are just liable to explode if you upset them.
Renato checked for a false compartment. Nope. The toads at the observatory measured the stone with their occult devices. I fed it the core of Sky Ripper, explained Renato. No more feed me blood and souls.
But the core is not an unlimited energy source,
said one toad. Another said,
there's a feedback loop, you see, which could overload the stone. The stone doesn't actually feed on souls,
claimed a third.
but on pain of killing another sentient being. If you can truly be at peace with yourself, it would not overload.
This was all very confusing. At peace? Yes, the mountains were peaceful and quiet, but he now had the power to turn the tides. He should report to the Rebellion Council and prepare for the decisive battle. Unfortunately, the mountains were not empty. There were ravens everywhere. No matter. He had to fight, yes, but he didn't have to be angry. Parry, dodge, slash.
Wait, no.
Breathe. Yes, focus on the rhythm, the dance of it. Not on the blood or the raven's caw as they died. Ah, it was working. He wasn't feeling those dark jolts of eldritch energy. He wasn't feeding the Iblis stone. Building these platforms was so expensive, they'd run out of budget for guardrails.
Wow, what? What?
The stone was still silent. His mind was his own, and his heart too. He bore them no ill will, these ravens. They were doing their job. They were expressing their nature. Dance, whirl, parry, jab. It was all so simple, wasn't it? Something was missing. He didn't feel truly at peace. Wait. Wasn't this near where Calaveras lived? The sage would help him figure it all out.
Oh, okay.
Renato's blood was up. He just needed to smash something. The Iblis Stone, silenced by the Sky River's core, had given Reynardo enough power to challenge the Imperial fleet. But what Reynardo was seeking was inner peace. The rebellion was on the verge of extinction, but it would have to wait. At the end of the mountain path, he found the wise Calaveras in his workshop. "Do you fix souls or only artifacts?" he asked the sage.
Does your soul need fixing?
Asked the sage. "I've been killing a lot of ravens lately," he told the sage.
You're a fox,
said Calaveras.
and to kill birds is part of your nature. Take joy in it. I mean, I might as well worry about eating flies. Don't you like a fly?
It was true. That's what he had forgotten. The joy. Now he was ready for the final battle. The Farfarer cut through the clouds. The air had never felt so sweet since he was a child. There it was. The dreaded Imperial fleet. He could smell wet hemp ropes ahead. Wood and tar and ravens. Even the fleet smelt good, somehow. He was ready. He was ready.
I guess.
Reynardo had it all squared away in his head. He would kill the Emperor. Isengrim III had begun well, but he had gone mad. He was trying to invoke the lost gods by means of dark, blasphemous rituals. That was a secret. But the victims had spoken to Reynardo. The ghosts had spoken. No. No anger. Reynardo could not afford anger. But he's empowering the crystal in his sword. That made him stronger, but it clouded his mind. He would not be a hero. A hero strives. Reynardo would just be one with everything. The Emperor would die, and the wheel would turn, and all would be restored, without rancor, without sorrow, without pain. Reynardo wondered if it wasn't cheaper to build bridges and stairs.
Not what I wanted to do, okay.
And he had so much more time to think about it now that he was not worrying about the battle. Killing the Emperor would not change anything. Another would take his place. Perhaps Zenobia. Perhaps the Speaker of the Rebel Council, and power would corrupt them too, and death would make grief, and grief would lead to hatred. He must lead by example. Reject the violence. Reject the desire to create violence. But how?
Ow.
Can I borrow that?
Really?
Finally, he came to the Emperor's ship. The path behind him was strewn with dead ravens. The path to enlightenment. His mistake, he realized, was trying to change the world.
I think it'd be better to split
The
once
world
it's
would
finished,
spin,
right?
and the wheel would revolve whether he strove against it or not.
Nah.
What he had to do...
You have to wait for the story to finish anyway, so it doesn't even
He
matter.
had attained enlightenment. He sat down,
Yeah, no, you can't
adopted a
skip
full
it.
lotus position, and
Whatever.
began to meditate. And all around him, the warriors stopped fighting too. They knew. They could feel his enlightenment. They gave up fighting, dropped their weapons, and became his disciples. No, just kidding. The nearest raven stabbed him with a sword and then chopped off his head. I might not have thought this through properly. Thought Renado's head as it rolled around the deck and died. Renado stared at the book. He was still alive. Again. And still only flying away from burning Ubar. Had he lived that adventure? Or only dreamt it? Had he really died? It felt so real, not like a dream at all. And he'd lost again. Oh, he hated that. But he had made different choices. And he'd lost in a different way. It was the book, wasn't it? Oracles showed you your destiny. But this was showing him different ways he could die miserably. Thanks a bunch, book, he thought. But these were destinies that he did not have to fulfill. But he'd learn another true thing. The Iblis Stone was evil. It would try to corrupt anyone who used it. But that meant there must be a destiny where he survived and won, right? Otherwise, what was the point? And with that, the book's pages fluttered back once more to the beginning, and the clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Renado knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong. But he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Iblis Stone was hidden there. It was a dangerous artifact. It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe he could find a way to use it. To take its power without surrendering to its wickedness. On the other hand, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing. Lapino was no game changer, but could Renado really leave an old friend to the Ravens? Every child knew about this. As he set foot on the island, Renado could not help but feel a tinge of guilt. He'd left Lapino behind. He hoped the Mad Rabbit had somehow escaped the Ravens. He hoped they hadn't eaten him. If they had,
I forgot to split.
he hoped they hadn't eaten him alive. Why had he chosen the Sky Ripper?
Maybe that's why I didn't
Renado
make it
never made
split
plans that
after.
required constant vigilance. He was a hero. He didn't think too much. He just went with his gut and hoped it all worked out. The Sky Ripper was a long shot. He'd have to devote himself to it. No side journeys, no rescuing old friends. That was against his nature. Could he stick with it?
Huh? A lever? That was new. Most people still use doorknobs. The people who had built this castle, did they even know what monstrous weapon lay hidden within their walls? The Sky Ripper could destroy anything it touched, or so the legend said. As the Transcendent Emperor had fought the Lost Gods, thousands had died. But Reynardo had been through wars. The only merciful war was a short one.
What? Alright.
He smells burnt fur. Yes.
Really? That's dumb.
I think this is yours, said Reynardo, but he couldn't hear his enemy's answer. Was that your shield? There it was. Sky Ripper's armature. The stuff that dreams are made of. Engineers' dreams, anyway. The device, how is it part of a weapon at all? He'd have to ask a scientist. But first, he'd get the second piece. Sky Ripper had a heart. A core that had come to rest on the next island. Well, there was another island he could reach. Zenobia had just invaded it with her father's Raven battalions. She must be encamped there still. But fighting Zenobia now, that made no sense at all. He'd already sacrificed one friend to get this armature, was it? He didn't need to hurry to face her. She would find him. The truth is, though, he wanted to see her, wasn't it? It had been a dozen years since Swordfru School. He'd followed every rumor about her, every scrap of news. Not that he still loved her. After all, she was his enemy. No, it was solely because
I didn't even see my
your
health.
enemy. But it would be great to see her. Even if they faced off across sword points, as they'd done so many times at school. The world was a less interesting
Fucking
place without her.
shit. Oh, stop it.
Gogglers. Reynardo hated gogglers. It was almost impossible to sneak past them. If one didn't spot you, another one would.
Isn't there a fucking... Wow. An entrance somewhere? No? Well, alright. I hate this pathway.
Hey, why don't you guys fight in groups? Oh, I know. because there's no I in team. Reynardo wasn't entirely sure how he was going to capture Zenobia. She'd be expecting him. And he didn't have Lapino to cook up a clever plan. Why was it again that he hadn't got the core? Maybe because the results tended to be disastrous. These streets were familiar. The sword issue was closed now. But he had been down that street 1,000 times. He knew that pub. He knew that alley. He knew the alley behind it much too well. No wonder Zenobia had chosen to invade this island herself. Reynardo slinked through Zenobia's ship, making no sound at all. Where were her guards? Finally, he reached her bedroom.
That makes no sense. It's a trap,
Shouted the Emperor.
I'll meet you at the outpost, and I'll bring my interrogators.
If Reynardo came face to face with the Emperor, maybe he could assassinate him. But maybe it would be smarter and safer to turn Zenobia against her father. You're lying, she said. It was a short, safe landing. At least this part of the Nexus hadn't changed too much. Zenobia had been taking him to the Imperial outpost. She'd never expect him to go there by himself. Well, maybe she would. You never knew with her.
I think I'll play Grand Theft Auto later now.
Reynardo
That's what I
wondered
feel.
idly if people who had built these poles had really, really long tentacles.
Well, after I eat, of course, because fuck. I'll be okay. Nope. No, go away. No. Wait. Fuck. Where did I go now?
Reynardo knew Zenobia, and Zenobia knew
Oh.
him. She'd suspected a trick. Now he'd
This is the right
vanished.
way.
She would probably guess that was his plan all along. Perfect. Maybe she wouldn't use the Sky River. At least not without taking it to the scientists at the observatory first. Meanwhile, the Emperor would be coming to the outpost personally. This could be good.
That's barely a level up.
Reynardo was face to face with the Emperor's bodyguard. They looked very tough, but the Emperor held them back.
Oh, where's...
Well, that's a job well done, thought Reynardo. Now the fleet will be in all sorts of disarray. But maybe he could find her in the mountains. She always used to go to the mountains to hide from the world. Maybe he could even turn her against her father. Or maybe he could reap the benefits of the chaos he had sown. It was time to report to the Rebel Council, and then launch the attack on a divided and very confused Imperial fleet.
It's just fun. I love this game. The game is fun. It's a good game. Good story,
if he
I
should have
think.
just told her the truth about her father. The Emperor had adopted her from a stray.
Let's see, maybe it's possible.
That was the source of all her loyalty.
Oh hell no.
But even then, he'd been dreaming of a bargain with the
It's
lost
not possible.
gods. They alone could make him immortal. The Emperor would have to seal that bargain with the life of someone who truly loved him. And who else truly loved the Emperor? But how could Renato tell her that now? Why would she ever believe him?
Oh.
It was all coming back to him.
I fucking wish he would stop attacking
What he'd
random
remember
characters.
next.
Attacking random fucking birds and shit. Because it's not helping. Like, you just have to like fucking immediately dash right after. Oh.
The funny thing was, she should have trusted him. He told her the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Oh, all right. The truth was, he'd played her like a fiddle. And how often had he ever done that? She was so smart. Smarter than him, really.
The combat's easy in this game. Just fucking push them into each other. Go for the final kill. If they come blocking, just block them. Do it. Oh, this way.
Don't be shy.
Oh. I love that.
What was the point of this gate? Did they think no one would notice the lever? Renato had given away the
actually want
location
this.
of the secret base.
Give me the fruit, damn.
The Emperor thought it was all a trap. He even mistrusted his own daughter. Renato couldn't have done better if he'd planned it.
Oh shit, I thought, well, whoops.
What have you done to me? Zenobia demanded. My own father thinks I'm a traitor. So? But I'm loyal. So what? You're a bastard, Renato, she said. Now you love that about me. You really did want the core, didn't you? And the Iblis stone. Yep. He gloated. You get all that? She said to the far speaker Toad he'd failed to spot.
I am so relieved, my daughter,
said the far speaker. And Zenobia got into her ship and flew off. Damn it. The old far speaker trick. How had he missed it? This was very bad. Zenobia back in her father's good graces, and both of them ready to use the core and the Iblis stone. He got back on the Farfarer. Briefly, Renato thought of fleeing. The odds were surely against him. Never tell me the odds, he told himself. Odds confused him. He preferred to trust his gut. And so he sailed on to attack the fleet. Alone, if necessary. There were not many rebels here, and they were disorganized. The Empire had obviously attacked the secret base. The formerly secret base, whose location Renato had so helpfully pinpointed on a map. There was still time to turn around, wasn't there? But Renato hated turning around. Heroes don't turn around, they just own their screw-ups and turn them into impossible victories, right?
Ah, invisible wall, stop.
The portal was heavily guarded. Let's go someplace that we didn't want it to go.
Oh my god. Terrible, terrible.
Don't look down, he thought.
My PS4 hates this level. Just wants to start screaming every time this level comes up. You.
The odd thing was, Bernardo's personal battle was going fairly well. The Ravens immediately in front of him were no quicker or tougher than usual. Where was the power of the core? Blasting him off
I'm actually
the
gonna
abyss.
take this in hopes that...
And where was Zenobia?
Oh.
She must be up to something. But whatever it wasn't his problem. Not yet, anyway. It was all going surprisingly well. This thing really needed a roof.
Wow, that was incredibly lucky.
Soon he'd confront the Emperor. Funny that this whole war had come about because the Emperor feared death. And now it was coming for him. There was some sort of lesson there, wasn't there? At last, he came to Zenobia and the Emperor. She was sealing up a kind of squat coffin, banded with lead.
So
124, 47
croaked the Emperor.
ish.
You will be witness to my
Oh,
final
I mean, currently on the
victory.
thing. I don't have any splits.
That's creepy, Dad, said Zenobia.
Thanks.
But thank you. Because of your
Like, they're not
shenanigans, we
splits.
tested the core.
But every time
It's
I'm
really
splitting, I'm
unstable.
saying that's
It could have
alright.
blown us all up. It could, said Renato, a little frustrated that she'd figured it out. Anyway, we already destroyed your secret base, so we don't need a super weapon. We're just going to bury it. Do we, torture you? Or give you a medal? Sometime later, Renato got an invitation to attend the Emperor's ritual sacrifice of his daughter. They took him out of his dungeon cell and gave him all his medals to wear. A little while after that, the lost gods returned, and the sun went black, and the Emperor ate his soul. And just like that, he was alive again, and back on the Farfarer, still fleeing burning Ubar. The book was still open before him. So, the book was a portal. It took you to the future, when your destinies would branch. He had failed and died, 3 times, but he'd learned another true thing. Zenobia still had feelings for him. But he was starting to feel like he was getting the hang of this. There was a way through to victory. He could feel it. He just had to keep running the path of Destinies. With that, the book fluttered back to the beginning, and he fell into it. The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Bernardo knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong. But he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Iblis stone was hidden there. It was a dangerous artifact. It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe he could find a way to use it, to take its power without surrendering to its wickedness. On the other hand, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing. Lapino was no game changer, but could Renato really leave an old friend to the Ravens? Ah, Lapino.
What time was it? Oh, not bad.
Lapino had apparently managed to confuse the judge by arguing that he hadn't actually stolen a winged horse. He'd only sold it. But wait, where was the prison? The village was empty. Had everybody fled the Ravens? The platform used a hybrid propulsion system fueled by anti-gravity and wishful thinking. The Ravens had taken the town. Renato had seen villages emptied like this. All the people taken away to be sacrificed in the Emperor's secret rituals. Renato hoped the people were just hiding. Renato had tried everything. Zenobia had loved him to death. The Sky Ripper destroyed everything. The Iblis stone had corrupted everyone who held it. He'd never put much faith in Lapino. But Lapino was all he had left.
Wow, alright.
Ravens were landing everywhere. The advanced guard. He'd better get moving. If they got to Lapino first, they'd eat him for breakfast. Or a snack. Ravens weren't picky. If they got hungry, they sometimes forgot to interrogate their prisoners. Even top spies like Lapino. Where had the mad rabbit got to?
Ow.
Renato felt a chill run down his back. Or possibly a flea. Dirty and bloody, Renato finally reached Lapino. The rabbit was practicing his shuffle. Bernardo recognized the cards. It was Lupino's favorite deck. Oh, I thought you were in danger.
I am. The Ravens are coming. Oh, the prison thing. Right, yeah, see, this guard owed me 53 ducats. So we made it.
We capture Zenobia, we find out what she knows. And that's the whole war right there. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Capture the Emperor's greatest general, who happened to also be a deadly sorcerer, and, oh, his only daughter? That would be worth it. And it would be nice to see her. He'd always had a soft spot for her. And he felt sure she had one for him.
On the other hand, he could still get to the core of the Sky Ripper, even if he couldn't get the whole thing. It must have great power.
Zenobia wasn't...
Zenobia. Fucking name. It's a great one, I guess. My glasses are dirty.
The city was already under Zenobia's control. I had to admire her efficiency. Renato shivered at the thought of Zenobia at the mercy of the interrogators. Could he really turn her over to them?
Nope,
But this was
don't
war.
take that door.
It wasn't meant to be pretty. The city was burning, and there was no one to put out the fires. If somehow Zenobia survived her father and inherited his crown, what sort of empire would she be heir to? But he couldn't think about that, could he?
Crafting bench. Renato wondered what he could make with it.
I wouldn't get it in time. Alright. So that's a no. Well, maybe? No. I wouldn't. Alright, that's fine.
What exactly was Lupino up to this time? You could see the wheels spinning inside his head. They made Renato dizzy, in fact. When Renato went to the china shop, for some reason the owner was always nervous.
Wow, fuck. Hey, well that's really good RNG. Fucking shield breaker. No, I'm not gonna do it though.
So, what's this plan of yours?
Use me as bait, said Lupino. And he outlined a slightly complicated plan that involved geese, a net, setting the Farfarer a little bit on fire, Lupino dressing as an old blind toad, and Renato hiding inside a monstrous watermelon.
What could possibly go wrong? Thought Renato.
Oh, this is gonna be fun,
Said Lupino, as he ran to go set up his marvelous plan.
Ow. Alright. You're fucking whatever.
Should have faked left and then gone left, he thought. And then he never thought again.
What?
Renato felt dubious about the whole plan. With every step, he was waiting for it all to go horribly wrong. But against all odds, Peppino's idiotic plan worked. Zenobia's ravens ran off after she'd vanished from Swordfu School. From his life, without even saying goodbye. Without ever telling him she was the Emperor's adopted daughter. Bernardo was aware of her feelings. Maybe this was a bad idea, but was he letting his own feelings get the better of him? Listen, said Renato. Let's not do this. Let's not do what? Asked Zenobia. Look, you're the Emperor's right hand. You are going to have me interrogated. He said, sure, yeah, but then I remembered how you feel about me. How I feel about you. You are going to have me interrogated. But I didn't. Because you care about me, said Renato. Well, guess again, Buster, she said, and she pushed him off his own boat. As he plummeted towards the bottomless clouds of the abyss, Renato decided that he'd not really handle the situation with his usual finesse. He tried something bold and paid the price for it.
Well, that's stupid.
The city was already under Zenobia's
fucking
control.
time wasted.
I had to admire her efficiency. Renato shivered at the thought of Zenobia at the mercy of the interrogators.
Doesn't make sense. Rescue
But he
Lupino,
really
find
turned her over
Zenobia,
to them.
accept his plans, don't take her
was
to the
war.
fucking
It wasn't
interrogators.
meant to be pretty.
That doesn't make sense. But okay, whatever. That's dumb. It's just completely dumb.
Hoped his hook didn't break.
I know it's not necessary to get them, but if I can get that wind sword, that'd be great. What? Down here. I guess you still have to take it to the interrogators.
Hey, a workbench! He could try out his new bling. What exactly was Lupino up to this time? You could see the wheels spinning inside his head. It made Renato dizzy, in fact.
What the fuck? No. You're full of shit.
Renato hated gogglers. It freaked him out to cut them. So, what's this plan of yours? Use me as bait, said Lupino. And he outlined a slightly complicated plan that involved geese, a net, setting the Farfarer a little bit on fire, Lupino dressing as an old blind toad, and Renato hiding inside a monstrous watermelon. What could possibly go wrong? Thought Renato. Oh, this is gonna be fun, said Lupino, as he ran to go set up his marvelous plan. Should have
Wow.
died a pirate, he thought.
This game, no mercy. Why?
It's full of stars.
Maybe I should have picked up the fucking fire sword.
Renato felt dubious about the whole plan. With every step, he was waiting for it all to go horribly wrong. But against all odds, Pino's idiotic plan worked. Zenobia's ravens ran off after the geese, the net dropped, and Renato jumped out of the watermelon. She'd vanished from Swordfu school, from his life, without even saying goodbye. Without ever telling him she was the Emperor's adopted daughter. Renato was aware of her feelings. Maybe this was a bad idea, but was he letting his own feelings get the better of him? Ah, Lapina was right, Renato.
Well, whatever, I guess.
Cats can run faster, but foxes can run longer. If he ran, he could head her off before she reached her minions at the outpost.
How am I supposed to do
He
this?
did love a good chase.
Good! And it didn't run for the nest! Said the lead raven.
Hey, Windows.
Every day he was getting better and better. Closing on her. He could smell her fear. He tried not to think about the interrogators at the secret base. What did they do to her? Maybe it didn't have to end that way. Maybe he could talk to her. But, after all, there were worse things the Imperials had done to friends of his. What did you do if one of these platforms stalled? Renato reached the outpost. The Imperials there were no match for him. Soon after, Zenobia limped up the path. When she realized he was already in front of her, she didn't even try to run. Oh, you left without saying goodbye. Again, he said, "Please. I'm enjoying this a little too much," she said, shaken. "Oh, spare us the chit-chat, would you?" said Lapino as he shackled her hands so she couldn't throw spells. She knows all his plans. All the way back to the Farfarer, Lapino nagged Renato about how the interrogators would pry all the intel out of Zenobia. that would turn the tides in the imminent battle. All they had to do was take her to the rebels' secret base. Renato didn't like
Oh,
to
you
think
don't have a
about what the
choice.
interrogators
You're
stood
supposed to
for.
take that option.
Couldn't he
Not
just
the first one, not
talk
the
to her?
second one. But then you're supposed to not take it to the thing.
As they pulled away from the Nexus, Renato could see the fear in Zenobia's eyes. I can't take her to those... When he came to,
Did I reach 1%? I did, didn't I? Maybe I can find them.
he felt like Tarzan.
No.
Imagine if you built a house on one of these things. Oh, that would be amazing. It would be like having a boat.
Huh? Oh.
As Renato...
I'm just kinda mad that Death was there. Like, that's so fucking dumb. That was a grab, thank you. Sonic is playing in the background. Nah. I don't have time to change it. It's whatever.
Renato wondered if he should have taken Zenobia to the rebel base for real. Maybe she wasn't playing him after all. After the bleak talk about the Emperor's dark secrets, he was regretting his suspicion. Sure enough, the Farfarer had crashed in some rocks. There was no sign of Lupino. Zenobia caught up. All that kid stuff in Swordfu School. Look, look, that's the past. We're adults now.
Adults.
We have duties to other people. We have destinies. What are you talking about? And you are the most arrogant, slow-witted, light-fingered, mercenary, immoral, reckless... Run away with me, said Renato, and he realized he meant it. Oh, just like that, she demanded. I will, if you will. So, she kissed him. And it was the best kiss he'd ever had. They held hands as they boarded the Farfarer. Renato felt light-hearted, like the winds that were playing the rigging like a balalaika.
Oh, no,
Lupino,
can't skip
I
it.
need to get back to Lupino, he said, suddenly realizing he could have been captured. A prisoner. He's not. How'd you know? He saw something in her eyes he didn't understand. He fell, didn't he? Into the abyss. She looked away, wouldn't answer. But then a bolt smashed through the Farfarer's keel. The broken ship plummeted out of the clouds. Renato picked himself.
Do I have enough now? No, whatever.
This sword from the frigid north was really useful for making popsicles and birdsicles.
Reminder, it's actually doing a all-ending speedrun thing to get the ice one first, at least. Makes this shit easier. Ow.
Chill out.
Come on. Grab them! Shit.
This could be the new aerobics craze. Am I right?
Fucking block!
Gone rather well, actually.
Wow. Going out of the way for
to catch.
going out of my way for a box.
So much. It was time to turn it into something he could use.
I'm gonna die to that one day.
Renato wondered what would happen if he jumped. Would he be rescued by an emergency platform?
Wow.
As they reached her ship, Renato suddenly felt a sharp pain in his stomach. He was surprised to see a crossbow bolt
150,
sticking out of it.
630.
I was going to lead the Empire to our secret base, said Lapino. But no, you had to screw up my plan because you still got a thing for her.
Renato stared at Zenobia. The kiss. Was it real? She said, with a look of indescribable sorrow. She gestured and said an arcane word, and Lapino went flying into the abyss, screaming, "I'm telling your father!" Then she knelt down to cradle his head, and her paws felt very soft and warm.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it. He'd lost again, and died. But there was burning Uvar behind him. He still had all his destinies ahead of him. But he'd learned another true thing. Lapino was a traitor. Renato had suspected there was something wrong with the Mad Rabbit. But now he knew there was malice behind his goofiness. He knew enough now, he thought. All these truths tumbling around each other in his head. There must be a way to puzzle the pieces together. If he used everything he knew, he could discover a new path to destiny. The book's pages fluttered to the beginning once again. Faster than before? And he fell. The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Renato knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong. But he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Iblis Stone was hidden. It was a dangerous artifact. It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe he could find a way to use it.
I feel like there's no way to do this faster.
Surrendering to its wickedness. And also, his old friend Lapino.
That's time of like fucking 2 hours, 30 minutes.
Renato
maybe.
had a pretty strong
So that's a pretty
suspicion that
long
Lapino
game.
had betrayed
And to
the
do all the
rebellion.
truth
And
endings,
he had a
that's
gut
like
feeling that he needed to use that
an
to his
hour
advantage.
per 2 stories. Each story is like 30 minutes. There's 24
Renato
of them,
finally
so that's like,
realized that
oh fuck
Lapino
that,
was
no.
a traitor to the cause. And maybe Renato could use that somehow.
Something's about to happen and you're alone. Oh shit. Oh.
Renato couldn't quite put his paw on when he'd realized Lapino was working for the Empire. He'd never exactly seen Lapino sending coded messages to the palace, but he was sure. The rabbit had been on too many disastrous missions where he was the only survivor, or where he accidentally missed getting on the boat that went down to the abyss in flames. If Renato could prevent Lapino from getting back to the fleet with all the intelligence he'd probably gathered, it might be worth the trip. How had they come to this? They'd been on so many adventures together. Lapino had talked Renato out of prison at least 4 times, and Renato had rescued Lapino from at least 2 lynch mobs. Felt that the rabbit resented him. Lapino was hilarious because he was so down on himself and everyone else. But behind the laughs, he wasn't a happy camper. Was this payback? Or did the Empire have his little white tail in a vice?
Loki think I went the wrong way. No? Oh, the right way. But this wasn't the way.
rash, thought Renato. Ravens were landing everywhere from dropships. He'd better get moving. If they got to Lupino first, the rabbit would give the Empire all the intelligence he'd been stealing from the rebellion, and they'd probably give him a medal. He'd have to be very careful about how he played Lupino. At the slightest hint of danger, the mad rabbit would take off like a rabbit. Nice. That could be useful.
Wow.
Bloody and exhausted, Renato finally reached Lupino. The rabbit was practicing shuffling his favorite deck. Now that he knew what the rabbit was, there were a few things about him that Renato didn't find so amusing anymore. You sent me an urgent message saying, "Oh, I am. The Ravens are coming." Now, I got a clever plan to kidnap Zenobia. Renato wanted to clap shackles on the rabbit and shout, "You're a traitor, and I'm not falling for it." But if there was one thing Renato was sure of, it was that the core of the Sky Ripper was dangerous mostly to its user. If he could put it in the Emperor's hands, old Isengrim III might blow himself and his fleet up with it. Yes, that was it. Renato felt like a real...
I'm tired. Kind of. What was wrong with her today?
Right. Now, all Renato had to do was fight his way through Zenobia's invading troops, sneak onto her ship and into her bedroom, and kidnap her without any of her dozens of guards alerting her. Then, he would rely on her love for him to convince her how evil her father was, so she'd run away with him instead of going back to her father, who was going to blow himself up. It did sound a little risky. But Renato had a feeling it would work out somehow. It always did. That was always a rush.
Come on. What? Come on.
Well, the eyes have had it. Renato was halfway to Zenobia's encampment when Lupino showed up. He was disheveled and distraught. "They jumped us. I barely got away. Oh, they got the core."
Oh,
It was all going according to
they
plan.
got the car.
Now he just needed Zenobia on his side. Yes, that was even better. The Iblis Stone. Zenobia could get it. And then the Emperor would have to pursue them. Wait. No. The gem would corrupt anyone. Even her. That's it, he thought. Even Lupino. Even though Lupino was already a traitor. It would turn him against his secret master, the Emperor. He would try to make himself Emperor. and the Emperor would have to defend himself with the core. Boom. He was a super genius. This is terrible, Bernardo told the rabbit. If only I had gone for the Iblistone. But now it's lost in enemy territory. He handed Lupino a map. It gives the bearer so much power. We can only hope the Emperor never finds it.
What was that?
Said Lupino.
I think someone's following us.
I didn't hear anything.
Rabbit ears. You go on ahead. I'll check it out.
And with that, Lupino hopped off with the map. It would be fun to try out that one. And here was a handy workbench.
Oh, I was using my magic all this time. This sensitive button bumpers. Alright.
Reynardo slinked through Zenobia's ship, making no sound at all. She was curled up on her bed. He'd forgotten how beautiful she was, how sleek, how soft. He tapped her on the shoulder with his sword. She was made of smoke, and he noticed he had a very solid blade to his throat. Did you really think you could capture me? Heard a familiar voice. I just wanted to chat, said Reynardo. Did you ever wonder why the Emperor adopted you? He needs a sacrifice. Someone who truly loves him, to make a bargain with the lost gods.
That's a vicious lie. He wants to bring them back. That's crazy. Why would anyone...
They could make him immortal. An eater of souls. And with that, her eyes widened. She understood. Reynardo told her how he had rescued a priest whose order had been massacred. How he had slept in a burnt village. At midnight, the Emperor's victims had come to him in his dreams to tell him of the hideous eldritch rituals they'd been sacrificed in. He could still see those kittens and puppies. Their wide, sad eyes, their moist noses. You can't prove that. I've got a witness at the observatory.
Yet.
He wasn't that good. Yet. The rebellion had started after atrocities that the Empire hushed up. Reynardo had rescued a priest whose order had been massacred for one book. He had slept in a burnt village. Dead kittens and puppies had come to tell him what the Emperor had done to them.
No.
I'd know if my father started practicing black magic.
Why? Would you join in?
No, I'd destroy his book.
Nothing to drink. I kind of do, but I'm not drinking it yet because I already have another thing of that same drink, vitamin water. It's downstairs. I can't move. Because speedrun. Even if it is unofficial.
You couldn't go sticking jewels in your gauntlet just anywhere. What if you dropped one and broke it? Luckily, there was a bench right here.
Oh my god.
Snack time, boys!
Caught the lead, Raven.
Ow. What? Okay. Whatever. Sure.
A chest full of old banana peels. There had to be more. There was.
The observatory was a burning hulk. Dead scientists and black feathers everywhere. The Ravens had taken special care to burn the reanimated witness to cinders. Zenobia stared at the carnage. He didn't want me to hear the witness, did he? I guess not. What's your plan? She asked. So, Renato explained his brilliant gambit. Sending Lapino to get the Iblastone, become super powerful and corrupted, provoke the Emperor into using the core against him, thus blowing up both of them, and hopefully the fleet too. Let me visit your council, she said, shaken. I want to help.
Could he really trust her?
He'd done it.
I want to go back and find what the other stories give, because I haven't done a full completed version of this game, like 100%, so, oh well. It's almost over.
What had Zenobia gone off to do? What was more
Don't
important
take
than
that
meeting
door.
the rebel council?
Had he made a mistake, sending her to the ruins? No. He knew they could trust each other. He could trust her because she never broke her word. And she could trust him because she could see right through him. Well, she'd probably be there well before him. She at least didn't have to fight her way through rainstorms of ravens.
This shit confuses me every time. No, not there, nor there. Right here.
As he came around the bend, there was Lapino, unconscious on the side of the path. And Renato could smell a familiar, sweet, smoky scent. Who? Zenobia. It had to be. She never used a combat spell when she could use drowsy gas. That meant she had the Iblastone. What would it do to her? She hated her father now. She'd kill him for sure. The council wouldn't mind if she killed the Emperor, but murdering her father would destroy her. He had to get to whatever ledge she was on and talk her down from it.
Ow!
Boy,
Fuck.
looks could kill.
I wasn't paying attention. I clearly did not see him hiding in the corner there. go.
Long stairs. So he was close to the rebel base. Nothing was on fire. So far, so good.
Come on, grab! Stop it. That's why you get the ice sword, bitch.
Everyone in the council chamber was dead. Zenobia stood shivering in the courtyard, drenched in blood. Why? He managed. They started arguing with me. I lost my temper and I wanted their blood. Not me. The stone did. Why did you take it from Lupino? I had a plan. You had a stupid plan, she said. I'm going to go kill my father now. No, you can't. You'll just take his place. You'll become worse than him. Get out of my way, or I'll kill you too. You won't kill me, he said. And I won't let you kill the Emperor. Enraged, she raised the sword. You hate him too? He could sense the Iblis stone, yearning for his death, but she didn't strike.
Oh, whoops. I'm tired as fuck now. I really need to just eat and probably go to sleep. Struggle. It's almost over. It's the last scene. No, I lied. No, it is.
The
Fuck,
Empire had
yes.
seized his
We're
ship.
done.
They'd have to take it back.
Still not enough wind incense. Alright, well, might as well go see what's in here. Yeah, that's it. Wow, alright.
Right into the middle of the fleet. It was a glaring weakness in the defense. Zenobia was in no shape to fight.
Zenobia.
But he never fought so well. He wasn't fighting for money
Dude,
or
fuck this
loot
level.
or a cause. He was fighting for her.
Bro, PS4 wanna take a shit every fucking time.
His sword danced, his feet flew, and the ravens recoiled from his ferocity.
Grab her.
Sharp? Check. Pointy? Check. Flexible? Check. What else do you need in a sword?
That was totally blocked, okay. Actually, I'm gonna take that there. Okay. Yes. At a better amount of health. Let me see if I can heal up a little bit more. An auto.
There it was.
Keep the light for you guys, Renata said. Do anything know? Or I can give you a smoothie around here.
Ow. Okay. Can I do this a third time?
Really didn't have much in the way of safety features, did it?
Oh, it's risky. $50 health. Well, 49, technically. Can I do this with 59 health? Of course I can. Block that though. Oh. Stop. Well, fuck it. I fucking hate that fight. It's such bull. If he didn't chase kills when he threw them, that would be great. What? Wow. Just fucking wow. Wow, dude. Come to think of it, you can farm that Zenobia mission where I like somehow died. You can farm that for crystals because they just respawn you at the beginning of the level, and you can just go back into the thing. You get your fucking hell. Oh my god, this game is starting to piss me off now. I can see why. Whatever. Yeah. Whereas Zenobia throws you off the fucking boat thing, you can just die and repeat the mission. The only thing is you have to go through all the fucking dialogue. That's too much time. Never mind. I was trying to think of a way, an easier way to get to wind sword, the Lord. What the fuck? Here? Whatever. No. Come. Move! on! What the fuck? Such a stupid fight. Never thought of this for a fucking boss battle. Fucking sucks. I mean, it's cool to do a horde, especially when it's like this, but this is annoying. Fucking dash over them. Yeah, it's only fucking natural.
There was a sign.
Take the goat across first.
Come on. Come on. I froze you. Why? This game. Wow, just fucking wow. Dumb shit luck. Fucking iced him. Nope, not today, no. Guess you don't, I guess you forgot how to freeze free sword. Huh? Okay. What the? Oh my God. Oh. Had no time doing this shit before. It was a good idea to get dashing through enemies. What? Fuck. Oh my God. No! Come on! Come the fuck on! This is taking longer than it fucking should need to take. What the fuck? Come on.
More like a flying tabletop. But it would do.
Come on! This is ridiculous. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. Come on, just... This is such a shitty boss fight. Horde mode is not a fucking boss fight. No! Oh! Whatever. Okay, whatever. I'm dodging! No! No, come on! There's no point.
No skateboarding, the sign said.
Fuck off.
But
Oh, yeah.
it did not go unnoticed. Scout ships lifted off, and a long lance of the Imperial
241,
flagship.
45.
Renato
This
turned
is fine.
downwind to gain speed. The Raven ships could pursue, but they couldn't close. The far speaker croaked, "You return her and live!" "Go sacrifice yourself," yelled Renato. "Then you won't have her either." On the flagship, the Emperor was readying some arcane weapon. It couldn't be. It was the core. A devastating beam lanced out of the flagship. Renato zigzagged wildly to keep the Farfare out of it. Now the Raven scout ships were closing the distance, and the beam was getting closer too. Then came a blinding flash, and the air
They
was
escaped.
searingly hot all around him. There was a thunderous, deafening roar. He could smell burnt oak and burnt feathers and burnt flesh. But when he could hear and see again, they were alive and unhurt. And they were alone in the sky. Zenobia embraced him. They had done it. Through luck and through love, they had won the war. "Avalon, here we come," he said as he held her arms wide in the prow of the boat and let her feel its speed. "Maybe the real Avalon is wherever we're together," she said. And so, after a bit of an argument, Reynardo and Zenobia went to one of the two Avalones. The one shrouded in mists. Or the one in their hearts. But which one they went to, I'll never tell. He'd done it. He'd forged his own destiny. Well, he hadn't actually done it. But he knew what he would do. Reynardo smiled at the book. He practically wanted to kiss it. The kid's sacrifice hadn't been in vain. He'd saved the book, and saved the world. Reynardo owed him and his mother so much. Reynardo lowered the mainsail, and let the Farfarer shoot forward in the breeze. Second star to the right, and straight on till morning. This time, he would win.
Alright, good game. Huzzah. 2 hours. Well, I'm gonna cut this, go eat, whatever. If I'm not asleep, I'll come back for Grand Theft Auto. Or not, I don't know. So yeah. Whoops.